Welcome everyone. What a wonderful step for Walter Ferretti to be able to make some history here at their backyard, the Estadio Independencia over in Estelí, as they will be hosting Plaza Amador. Two teams that got to this round, the quarterfinal round of this 2017 Scotiabank Concacaf League, as it's a wonderful day for football in Nicaragua, country of course more known for its baseball prowess than football, but of course football has been growing in leaps and bounds, and the faithful for Walter Ferretti making the trek over to the Independencia to see if their team can get to a deeper stage, get to the semifinals of this CONCACAF League. Start to see how deep Nicaraguan teams can get into this competition. Of course, they were able to get into this round rather comfortably after beating Belmopan Bandits with a 5-1 aggregate. Of course, that was not the case for Plaza Amador. They battled and scratched to be able to go to penalty shootouts against Portmore United, and there it was Eric Hughes, the man that was able to shine and help Plaza, currently leading the Panamanian League with 13 points, as they were able to advance on a 5-4 result from the penalty spot. These two teams, of course, getting into this round and looking for more, as both teams have not been able to get to a semifinal in a regional competition. So it would be a first for both of these sides to be able to do that, as we start to see the fans enjoying, waiting, and especially many that have seen some of these players for Walter Ferretti show off their talents, not only with the club, but also with country. Mentioned some of them as well. And currently, they have the leading goal scorer in this competition, or one of the leading goal scorers in this competition, in the Uruguayan Jose Laureiro, former Defensor Sporting man. Of course, now applying his trade in Nicaragua. And you see right there both sides as Walter Ferretti getting ready to come on, and Plaza Amador doing the same. They're waiting to see when they get that indication. So just moments away from both teams coming onto the pitch. Of course, as I mentioned before, this tournament giving one spot, and one spot only, to the winner of this competition. Who will it be? Well, right now we have 8 teams vying for that distinction, as both squads getting ready to come on. And remember, out of this tie, whoever ends up advancing ends up playing the winner of Olimpia Alianza. Of course, that match will be played later on tonight. But first things first, as the quarterfinals get underway for these two sides. So we're moments away from kickoff here as both teams already on the pitch. Pre-match protocol underway as you see Melvin Cruz and Jesus Tabora, the two assistants, of course. Raul Castro, the referee, and fourth assistant Hector Said Martinez. Flavio Rego da Silva, and he brings out pretty much the same lineup that he had just a couple of days ago. Espinosa and goal, Munive Tapia, Dalmeida, Vanegas, and Jesse Lopez. Backline of five for the former Botafogo man, who also spent some time as Pérez Celedón coach. We'll talk about that story in a little bit. Jose Garcia and Christian Gutierrez with Laureiro and Josimar Amador. Up top, it'll be another Brazilian, another Da Silva, but that will be Robinson Da Silva. He will be the man in the area for this Walter Ferretti side, who's been amongst one of the top teams in the offensive categories, as I mentioned before. You see right there Raul Castro, all Honduran crew, Melvin Cruz, Jesus Tabora, and Hector Said Martinez. Of course, he's right behind the referee, the fourth assistant for tonight's match. So we'll get underway, both sides switching over as it'll be Walter Ferretti getting ready, looking to make history. And meanwhile, Plaza Amador, a few changes. Of course, we saw Jair Palacios do a bit of a switch. If you start looking at the last time this team played in this competition, well, Daniel Blanco getting the start, Humberto Gomez and Luis Frais also getting the nod in the midfield. Up top, it'll be the Colombian Jose Murillo. So those are the only four changes for Jair Palacios. Of course, Hughes in the back, Mendoza, Betancourt, Dixon, and Carabalí, Gomez, Frais in the middle, Blanco, Ramirez out wide, and Sinclair and Murillo. As you see the substitutes that will be at both coaches' disposals respectively. On paper, many have been starting to tout Plaza as one of the contenders for the title. Of course, many have Olimpia, Alianza also in that particular battle, but then you start to look at the lone Costa Rican representative right now in Santos de Guapiles, and of course, they too have an argument they can make for that particular distinction too, but in the end, arguments go by the wayside and performances are what end up being the soup du jour for everyone involved. As you see right there, the Brazilian Flavio Rego da Silva, 47-year-old, and the man that was the hero last time, Plaza Amador. He got the weekend off as Samuel Castañeda was in goal this past weekend for the league leaders in Panama. And we're underway as Walter Ferretti in their black and red. Meanwhile, Plaza Amador in the blue and white, going from the left to the right. You're going to see a lot of hard marking in the middle. Very typical if you're not familiar with what Nicaraguan football does offer. Very high pressing, very quick moving, trying to reduce spaces. That's what Plaza Amador will have to try and contend with, as you see right there, how they're looking to block things out and forcing Plaza to try and drop back. Now it goes back into the middle. It is Blanco, Dixon, and now it's Carabalí with Betancourt. Gonna send that ball deep, trying to collect it. Does very well, Rafael Dalmeida. Gonna go through, and again, another big chance. This time it's Ahmed Ramirez, the only player starting tonight, currently on yellow card caution. So he finds himself having to be a little bit more careful than usual, as it'll be a first corner kick of the match. Just scarcely 60 seconds into this particular match, and quickly as I say that, Ahmed Ramirez loses the ball, gives it right back to the home team. Jesse Lopez, as you see Jair Palacios to your left. there. Da Silva, as well as Daniel Blanco, end up crashing into each other. Daniel Blanco, of course, it's been an interesting story the past few years, seeing the amount of Spaniards that have been immigrating away from not just Spain, but through different continents. Of course, Daniel Blanco not the exception to that particular rule, as he has found a home in Panama. As Plaza pressing, good move there on the outside as Betancourt had to press out, but ball won very quickly once again. Blanco from Spain, born in Caracas in Venezuela, lived in Spain for most of his youth, went to Venezuela, started to play, played in the Venezuelan first division for a couple of seasons, and I start to see him here in Panama as it's Ahmed Ramirez switching sides. One, and very quickly one, is De Almeida looking to play it out, but again, having a lot of problems with that second pass to try and break out quickly as a foul being called, and there'll be Plaza Amador getting called, or getting the call, as it's Murillo, the Colombian, looking to reset it, and quickly again you start to see where Betancourt was having some trouble. 4 players in the area now, or near the area, as it'll be Daniel Blanco. Right into the hands of Denis Espinosa. Of course, he's been one of the stalwarts over the past decade and a half in goal in Nicaraguan football. Of course, he, alongside Justo Lorente, of course, the goalkeeper, the starting goalkeeper for Real Estelí, he now is the sole owner of that goalkeeping spot with the Nicaraguan national team. Deep ball, not much going on there, as it'll be shepherded, just looked at by Humberto Gomez, as you see right there. And it's been a bit of a journeyman, as he's in his second stint as coach of Walter Ferretti. So early on, we've seen a bit of a press in the middle. Walter Ferretti doing a good job of recovering the ball, but as soon as they get it, they lose it very quickly. And now on the far side, you start to see Luis Frais, another player to be watching as far as the attack is concerned. Now back into the middle for Murillo, going out wide for Frais, crossing it, but nobody there. As covering very well is Eder Munive. He alongside Alessandro Tapia. Another there patrolling next to him. You can see a lot of rotation in that back line, mostly a back line of 3, but when the 2 wing backs start dropping back, essentially you see more of a defensive disposition by this Walter Ferretti side. Now the question is, when you start to see those wing backs dropping back and not moving up, how much offense are they going to have? That answers the question right there, as it's in the direction as Amador waiting. Now it's Da Silva looking as the run was being made. As it was Jorge Garcia now approaching, looking, and trying to get more numbers up top, but not being able to do so. That is one of the big question marks that needs to be looked at when this Walter Ferretti side goes on transition. Jesse Lopez cleared away and trying to push out as quickly as possible. Second ball won, and now it's Frais coming back, and so is Murillo. Ramirez passing it into the middle, it goes over and moves around very quickly, as it's Aglish Dixon now out wide even more so. Humberto Mendoza crossing, punched away by the veteran goalkeeper Denis Espinosa. Laureiro Venegas. Tapia. Rafael de Almeida. Venegas, and now playing it out wide one more time, bringing it back to Da Silva. They progress as Plaza just giving them room to roam, seeing where they can make the mistake as it goes to Tapia one more time. Progressing, looking for the spaces, and now colliding into the middle, and cleared away nicely there by Humberto Gomez, who's dropped back a little bit more, allowing Mendoza to go on the attack just ever so slightly. Frais also covering in, so good triangulation, good rotation so far is being shown by Plaza Amador in the early minutes of this match. 8th minute of play, still no score here at the Estadio Independencia. Aglish Dixon with the throw-in. Dixon was one of the players that was being looked at by Hernan Darío Gomez just last week, as he made his rounds just a few days ago. Murillo there getting called for the infraction, as the Panamanian national team coach was making his rounds, looking at some players that could probably be called upon for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. Panama looking and trying to battle to see if they can get to at least a playoff for their first ever appearance in the world's biggest tournament. Venegas. As De Almeida offering some guidance. Amador at the point as De Almeida's dropped back and not much going on, so it had to be dropped back all the way to De Almeida. The Brazilian hooking up with Kenneth Venegas. De Almeida covering, and Da Silva going up top. Swing it back and forth. You start to see Christian Gutierrez now moving over into that middle sector. It's vital to have those players in that area. If not, then you start to lose the middle and you start to lose mobility, especially when trying to break out. Here's Amer Ramirez. Sinclair. Murillo waiting in the wings, and again the ball aimlessly placed in the area right to Espinosa. Tapia. You hear Jair Palacios. I think I'll just leave it at the yelling and screaming, because what he's saying, well, he's not exactly complimenting his players right now for the way they're covering. Scrambling around as it goes over to Robinson da Silva. Da Silva trying to thread that ball through as it goes to Josimar Garcia, but slammed away. Trying to look there for some type of sympathy, saying, look, my shin guard. That image says it all, as you start to see Plaza clearing things out rather quickly, rather cleanly. It goes back into the middle. Francisco Betancourt. Daniel Blanco. Mendoza. Carabalí. Betancourt is pressed up. Since Walter Ferretti is not pressing, he's the one that usually goes up and decides to say, well, you know what? Let me just join in. Now joining in even more so. Of course, Aldrich Dixon. Deep ball, won by Ahmed Ramirez on the second occasion. Da Silva battling, jousting, and is able to get the foul. As you see right there, the infraction from behind. Da Silva again. Vanegas as he pushes up. Amador. The return leg will be next week over at the Rommel Fernandez. A lot of matches that are planned. Of course, today there was a bit of a change in schedule, especially for Plaza Amador. They were supposed to play Árabe Unido tonight in the Panamanian League, but obviously, because of the way the calendar was set up for this Concacaf League match, that particular encounter was postponed until Sunday. So that will be a very interesting match to look at as first and second collide in the Panamanian League. And Eric Hughes. Still very well organized, or at least organized enough to really disrupt a lot of ball movement in the middle of the pitch. Jair Palacios maintaining his silence. Sometimes his silence says a lot more than his words. One that tends not to hold back with certain comments. Not controversial, he's just very honest with what he says. I guess the same thing could go with Flavio da Silva. You see how Plaza Amador is having all types of trouble. They have to go lateral to be able to move forward. Blanco had to drop back essentially to become a defender, or actually be a player to transport the ball out of the back. Instead, sending it deep, as there really wasn't much of an option. You're playing right into Walter Ferretti's hands, or heads, if you want to put it that way. As it'll be a throw-in. Da Silva. Vanegas. Those looked like a handball initially, but referee Raul Castro didn't think that. Espinosa. Da Silva. Look where he has to drop back to be able to get more participation. And you have 3-on-1, but again, the bounce helping. That pass way too far for Leandro Tapia to be able to do anything, but the effort, at least the potential to go forward, was there. As it was Garcia knocking that ball deep, but way too heavy on the touch. This is not the style that Plaza Amador wants to play. More like holding the middle. It's a good opportunity here. Ball split into the middle, but Espinosa being able to get to it before Ahmed Ramirez. And that's where I said that, yeah, they don't want to send the ball too deep, but as soon as they're able to possess it in the middle and try and go forward and split those lines, that's where they really start to create a lot of danger. Of course, big deep ball there being sent out wide, no problems. Plaza Amador is not a team that is going to overwhelm you with offensive prowess. They're not a team that's going to blow you out as their strength is more in their defense and how they're able to really shut down the opposition and be able to now, from a defensive standpoint, be able to build their offensive attacks. And that's where they are able to flourish most on the pitch. '18th minute of play, still no score here at the Estadio Independencia in Estelí. Ramirez trying to split through, does a good job. Offside, clear. There's Sinclair. Oh, you should have passed it to me, but you're gonna see here. Yeah, looked like he was kept on side slightly, and that's what the argument was after that play. Saying, wait, one of the players on the far side was keeping me on, and there was an argument for that. Da Silva hits the deck. Rafael de Almeida. Da Silva. They continue to drop those deep passes. Second balls are being a bit more generous for Walter Ferretti now, as the mistakes are being made by Plaza Amador. Remember in the first leg, Plaza Amador, and I'm talking about in the previous series, Plaza Amador had a very similar lineup as they were in Kingston, in Portmore, to be more precise. They played Portmore United, lost 1-0, and came back to Panama City and struggled to get a 1-0 result. Goal by Valentin Pimentel in the 75th minute helped bring his team to penalties, and of course, to this eventual round. Skied straight up in the air as Hughes punching it out, setting it up for the corner. As Lee Carabalí looking for his man. Everyone looking to mark, as it'll be man on man in this particular occasion. You see right there how every single motion is so important. Munive being just looked at, and he of course in turn looks at the referee saying, hey look, there's contact. There's contact everywhere. Man falls into the area, cleared away. Another chance, here's Da Silva! Just wide of target. First big chance of the match coming almost at the 21st minute mark. And again, taking a lot of time, and how Plaza Amador were able to rush out. Took them a long time to be able to break out after that initial touch, and that's the reason why coaches at every single level after set pieces are telling you, you have to push out, because if they're able to win that second or third ball, things can get very complicated for any team that's defending in such reduced space. And pressing in the middle, as it's Murillo. Trying to keep it alive, Murillo. Trying to put it through, but won by De Almeida. Now it's Da Silva. As Plaza trying to put a little bit more order in their play. Gomez. Gomez gets it off the back. Gomez looking for the contact, and he's not going to get the foul. Another man down, it's Murillo. As it's Da Silva winning it. Da Silva has dropped back significantly. That allows for Josimar Amador to come in and become that reference point for Walter Ferretti. And you see right there Jair Palacio just going absolutely ballistic right now. As Murillo complaining. That one's a tough one to call, because that one should have been called. See, Murillo gets hit. And there you start seeing that there's a lot of contact, a lot of hands flying around. So, but the previous one where Murillo got hit, that should have been the infraction. Is Walter Ferretti now looking to reset play. Very short. Hughes has to charge out. Carabalí really didn't make a lot of an effort to try and at least send that back with authority, and Hughes making sure that that ball is nowhere close. That's why he's been able to assert himself as one of the top goalkeepers in the Panamanian League. Many, of course, starting to talk about Hughes in terms of, well, what's his future have in store? Already 31 years of age, and many started to look at a possible replacement for Jaime Penedo. Nice ball into the area by Murillo, and not being able to control it was Ernesto Sinclair. See right here, completely onside. De Almeida, I don't know what he was complaining about as far as the offside was concerned. It was far from it. It was more like saying, well, I got beat, might as well just give it a try. Already halfway through this first half, already past the halfway part of this first half, no score, and only one team has truly been able to get a good chance on goal. It's more attributed to the disorganization offensively. Some intense marking by the defense. Chance from outside. As Da Silva looking to see what he could do, but very little that could be done from that distance with that pace on the ball. Eric Hughes as we get into the 26th minute of play. Not sure where he was looking as far as Humberto Gomez was concerned. He had a man on top of him. Get the view from above. Not much else that you can say about what's going on. You see, of course, the defense dropping back, but again, offensively, both teams are missing out on better protection of the ball, better movement of the ball. But this is what Plaza Amador are going to play. They're going to look to recover the ball and play it progressively up the pitch. Well, Walter Ferretti is going to look to try and send the ball as deep as possible. And for them to be effective, they need to start looking more in the direction of Josimar Amador, who happens to be all by himself. Another run that's being made. This time it's Jesse Lopez. See Amador there, top of the 18, but ball gets taken away by Lid Carabalí. Rushing through, and again the ball favoring Amador, turning back around. Mendoza. Ramirez banging around. It's finally won by De Almeida. There's Vanegas playing it out of the back, and Gutierrez breaking out. Again, it's Vanegas pushing forward. Da Silva. Haven't been calling Loredo's number very much, if at all. The Uruguayan who scored a brace against Belmopan Bandits. As you see the infraction being called, and looks like it's Alejandro Tapia. That is number 6. That's Tapia. You hear it there, Flavio Rego da Silva. Man who, as a player, was able to gain a rather interesting reputation as one of the youth players to watch back in the late 80s, early 90s with Botafogo in Brazil. As a coach, he's been more of a globetrotter than anything else. It's Robinson. Good give and go. It's banging forward, trying to beat Gomez. Cleared out of bounds for a throw-in here as we reach the 29th minute of play. Tapia with Da Silva. He has to drop it back and finds Vanegas. De Almeida saying, give it back to me. We'll start all over again. And that's exactly what they do. Is it goes all the way back to Espinosa. Plaza Amador doing a good job of keeping 2 players in the middle to at least be able to force it to go out wide. Then the third, of course, comes in, and that's where Walter Ferretti get a little bit more perimeter oriented. They start losing their reference, and you see why that pressure's working. Loredo really has been rendered useless so far up to this point, already 2/3 of the way into this first half. Loredo, if he's touched the ball twice, once at least was because he was trying to get it from an out of bounds to reset. Oh, look who's there. Henry Duarte, Nicaraguan national team coach. One of the true characters. Also a very intelligent football mind. I had the pleasure to sit down with him in June during World Cup qualifiers in Costa Rica. As he starts to analyze certain aspects of the game, and says he's very happy with the work he's been able to do in Nicaragua. Says that he's been doing a great deal of work in Nicaragua. If there's only one national team that he'd go to, and he's been mentioned in a couple of places, but he's pretty much said no, politely. So if there's one national team I'll go to, it would be Costa Rica, of course. Being born in Costa Rica and has been rather successful, has had a successful career abroad. Ball gets poked away. Now it's Ahmed Ramirez. So far it's been Plaza Amador being able to hold positioning of the pitch. Waiting way too long on that one, as it was pretty much frozen, and now it's Da Silva opening it up wide. You see a lot more ball movement going into the middle, and it goes right into the hands of Eric Hughes. Looking for Josimar Amador, but he's been all by his lonesome near the 18. Blanco. You'd be upset too if you start to see your team waste opportunities like that one just now. So far, it's been a lot of offensive question marks on both ends. Plaza trying and not being able to find. It's again Robinson. Banegas. You see the back line of three. There's Banegas now getting back into the middle. Looking for Laureiro. I'm not even sure why Laureiro is playing so far out. As you see him right there getting the ball, the Uruguayan. Gonna put it right through for Amador. Banegas. Amador waiting, but not enough room. Trying to slam it through, but the ball bounces in the direction. Here's Laureiro. The chance to shot just missed by Amador. Got on top of it too much, and another chance going by the wayside here for Walter Ferretti. See right there where he's able to hit it. But overall, Plaza Amador has had the ball with more patience. They haven't been able to create much in front of Denis Espinosa's goal. And depending on how you look at it, you can start saying also at this point that Walter Ferretti has been able to have at least a slight upper hand. Here's again Robinson. Has the ball poked away by Murillo. Sinclair. Ernesto again. Sinclair passes to Carabalí. Albus Dixon now out wide. Despite the chances, despite the scarce opportunities, of course, they are favoring Walter Ferretti, but at the same time, they really haven't harassed, or they haven't put Eric Hughes under any duress. And again, the pressure forcing Plaza Amador to make another errant pass. That'll be an interesting statistic to look at. The pass conversion rate in this match has been leaving coaches with those types of looks. Robinson out wide. Laureiro dropping back, and he's become the motor in the middle, dropping back because he needs to get more touches, and he's directing traffic, saying, no, not this way, that way. You start to see again how Plaza Amador move in his direction to try and neutralize him as well. Banegas a bit uncomfortable, but still cleared away by Cristian Gutierrez, another player who is currently on yellow card caution. One of three players for this Walter Ferretti side. So we get into the final 10 minutes of this first half. The result, I don't know, I'm not sure how to look at the result as of right now. Of course, it's very favorable for Plaza Amador as they go back home, but then also not getting a goal favors Walter Ferretti in that category. Gomez charging up the pitch, charging down the wing. Murillo. Plaza not able to find their way towards goal, but here's Murillo as he gets tripped up. Took a little while, and it'll be a free kick coming up in a very favorable position for Plaza Amador as we get into the 36th minute of play, deep into that minute. You see right there, just gets clipped ever so slightly, but enough for him to lose his balance. Three, four, now fifth player coming in for Plaza Amador. The big boys coming in. Looking to go first post as everybody anticipating a run there. Curling through, curling in. Another ball that goes, it gets cleared out quickly, looking to break out. Walter Ferretti setting it deep on that opportunity. Here's a good chase, but Hughes coming off his line brilliantly. Gets past the second potential attacker and sends it deep in the opposite direction. If it had been trapped better, of course, that's asking a bit too much, especially the way that ball was coming. That would have been really bad news for Walter Ferretti on the other end. Cleared away once again by Cristian Gutierrez. As the ball cleared out, well, actually not cleared out, knocked away by Robinson. So he didn't have much room to really do much with it. And you somehow feel like these two teams are like two cars driving with their emergency brakes on, full speed ahead. There's just something missing. And you haven't been able to find out exactly why they haven't been able to connect. Sometimes they're just rushing to get to that next pass, but they haven't thought about what they were able to do with it. So that kind of complicates things as far as how they operate. We'll start seeing it as soon as they get a ball into the attacking third, at least close to the attacking third. They're looking to force the ball through instead of waiting to see where the ball can be played best as Hughes comes off his line. And in certain spaces where they're forcing it, the players are probably not in the best possible position to create something there. Murillo, 39th minute. Blanco. Gomez as Mendoza. I've seen many runs from Mendoza so far in this first half. As he became more dangerous throughout the latter stages of the game against Portmore United. If you look at Plaza Amador's record, they're more of a grinding team. This is the result they are usually comfortable with. As again, another ball coming through, and get up. As Robinson da Silva saying, well, where's the call? And there was none. Looking deep again. Force the error, but not much going to happen. There's Eder Munive. One of the three central defenders. Crashing in the middle, looking for the foul as Loureiro drops it to his stomach. Not getting the call, so okay, well, let me get back up. Da Silva goes down once again. See what happens here. I've seen penalties called for less than that, but he felt the contact, he felt the hand, and let himself go. So that is a good idea, saying, hey, get back up. I don't think he said it as politely as I did, but that's neither here nor there as we're into the final 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time. I don't think there will be much, if any. There wasn't, I don't think there were any stoppages of note. 1 minute tops as it's Robinson sweeps aside past one defender, looking to put that ball into the middle for Loureiro. Cleared away there by Lid Carabalí. Ahmed Ramirez, the lone man up top. Now he's being accompanied as Vanegas has to drop it back for Cristian Gutierrez, who airily passes it to the opposition. Here's Frais. As he goes down, really a free kick opportunity coming for Plaza Amador. At this point, it will be interesting to see what substitutions will be used by both Jair Palacios as well as Flavio Rigo da Silva. referee saying, hey, wasn't there a foul? Wasn't that a foul? Blanco. Mendoza into the area, but again, being won by Walter Ferretti. Here's Laureiro, the big Uruguayan, rambling forward, and it goes back to Plaza. Laureiro was part of the under-17s for Uruguay back in 2009. It was 2 years after that team that was in the World Cup at the under-17 level. 2 years after that wonderful under-20 side. And I know that if he's listening, he's gonna blush. That under-20 side that had both Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani. There's that team, and of course Martin Cáceres. So yeah, don't serve it like that. Why are you sending it that way? That's what he's saying. At least that's my interpretation. Going back to what I was saying, of course, that team losing to the United States, coached by one Thomas Rongen. I don't know if he's listening. I know he blushes a little bit every time I mention that. But Laureiro was part of the under-17s in 2009, as you see the replay of the foul there on Humberto Gomez. One team wanting to eat, the other one being hungry, but neither one finding what they need to get, and Almeida kind of like falling in slow motion. And finally, referee Raul Castro says, calm down. Right there, gets the noggin. Oh, that hurt. A bit of a delayed reaction there on the Charlie horse, but still. Heavy knock there that was given by Jose Murillo. Final minute before stoppage time comes into effect is Robinson. Here's Da Silva trying to thread through for Josimar Amador. Murillo shielding and protecting, and goes back to Mendoza. Sending it deep, looking for Amit Ramirez. Blanco sweeping through. Murillo. A lot of contact. Murillo just jumped over, leapfrogged over Vanegas, and action going down the left-hand side now. Will Plaza Amador get a chance to take a shot? Amit Ramirez waiting, looking, posting through the middle. Oh, good interception. As again, it's Rafael de Almeida anticipating the ball well. Sending it out wide to Alejandro Tapia. Tapia goes to Amador. 1 minute. What's been a very fast-moving first half from a time standpoint. A bit from a rhythm standpoint for both teams. They've trudged on the pitch. They haven't been able to find their feet. They haven't found a lot of clarity in front of the final third, and Palacios continues to yell. It's kind of blending in at this point with the drums and the fans chanting. Nonetheless, time marches on and not favoring either side up to this point. It would be both a result that has indicated who's been able to dominate the proceedings so far. One's wanted, the other one has been unable to. As 45, now 46 minutes in the book, we go into the dressing room with only one clear, concise chance on goal, and that was Walter Ferretti that got it. Scoreless after 45 minutes here in Esteli. We'll be back after this.
Damas y caballeros, ha finalizado el primer tiempo. El marcador 0-0. 0 para el equipo Walter Ferretti de Nicaragua. 0 para el equipo Plaza Amador de Panamá.
En Scotiabank, el banco canadiense más internacional. Somos aficionados de los aficionados. Scotiabank, orgullosamente patrocinador de la Liga Concacaf. Scotiabank.
What the first half left was a very bittersweet aspect of what the entire body of work that these two teams put out really left a lot of desire of what should have been or what might have been or what could have been, but really never materialized. Walter Ferretti was a team that was hungry. They were looking to create, but they didn't have the clarity. They didn't have the inspiration. Although this shot right here by Robinson da Silva almost hits the back of the net, but there really weren't many chances here. Chance denied by Jose Murillo as he was onside, but not much really to write home about because the chances that came, as you see again the replay of the Robinson opportunity coming through. Plaza Amador was a team that wanted to eat, if you want to use that proverbial or that more figurative type of speak, as they wanted to, but they seemed to not have enough gears, or they just seemed 2 or 3 gears too slow to make things happen. Meanwhile, on the other end, it was Walter Ferretti playing 1, maybe 2 gears too fast for their own good against a team in the back that was very well organized, save for this opportunity here that could have been very close. The referee decided not to whistle. But overall, it's been Plaza Amador that has wanted but hasn't found. Meanwhile, you start to see a Walter Ferretti who needs but is not able to see. And we'll see, it's been pretty even. Maybe the positioning on the pitch and where the game has been played is going to side with Walter Ferretti a bit more, but they really haven't been able to disrupt Plaza Amador. You haven't seen Eric Hughes be under duress, and that too is a key to what's been going on as Plaza Amador has really resorted more to fouling and deep balls to try and relieve some pressure. That tends to be a good thing to keep the ball away, but also a negative when looking to generate offense.
Discutimos, peleamos, pero llego a casa en la noche, la molesto y arreglamos. Peleamos, nos arreglamos, nos mantenemos en esa, pero nos amamos. Ay, ¿qué te no me daría no tenerte en mi vida, vida mía? No importa si estás lejos, siempre te siento presente y estoy pendiente de ti frecuentemente. Cuando estoy en la calle resolviendo mis problemas, es para nuestro futuro, yo no sé por qué me celas. No soy un santo, tampoco ando en cosas malas. Cuando no estoy contigo es porque ando con mis panas. Somos por los opuestos y por eso nos gustamos. ¿Qué más le vamos a decir así nos enamoramos? Y ahí vamos. Peleamos, nos arreglamos, nos mantenemos en esa, pero nos amamos. Ahí vamos.
as the fans enjoying their late Thursday evening activities here in Esteli. All part of the football experience that's offered by tournaments such as this 2017 Scotiabank Concacaf League. As we're scoreless after 45 minutes. Remember the first leg here in Esteli, the second leg next week in beautiful Panama City. As we'll find out one of the 4 semifinalists as the field shrinks even more, as all of them vying for that coveted spot for the Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League that will start taking place in February. Just right there, the league leaders in Panama, Plaza Amador, against a team domestically in Walter Ferretti that's been struggling as of late. Currently 9th in the Nicaraguan League. Bit weird to see Walter Ferretti on that end. Usually fighting alongside both Real Esteli, of course, Real Esteli, the defending champs, and Dirian Hin, who have been one of the historical, if not the most historic team in Nicaraguan football. Team that has won the most league titles, Dirian Hin, who's been absent the past few years from international competition. As that ball served back to the security guards. As of right now, no substitutions to mention. Fans bringing the flag to show their support. Of course, tonight, of course, many will probably disagree because, of course, of the club competition as it gets away from Murillo. Poked away by Rafael de Almeida. He's one of the 3 central defenders. Loureiro there looking and dropping it back all the way to Eder Munive. So it's Munive, Manegas, and de Almeida. Jesse Lopez, as well as you start to see Alejandro Tapia, the 2 wingbacks. So back line of 5 for this side for Walter Ferretti. Loureiro, as well as Jose Garcia and Christian Gutierrez, with Josimar Amador and Robinson da Silva, that man right there. Da Silva's dropped back a little bit more, so more of a 5-4-1 for Flavio Rigo da Silva. Coached this team a couple of years ago, back in 2015, and left under very controversial circumstances to take over Pérez Celedón of Costa Rica. Of course, return in this side again, looking for contention or a chance to be able to advance. Here's a good chance, the ball coming through, but that last touch betraying too heavy, taken away, and now Walter Ferretti looking to advance. Here's again Robinson, stepping, dropping, weaving, bobbing, and trying to recover it once more. Sending a pass to, well, sending the pass to Jesse Lopez, but not getting to it, and start to see the most dangerous chance building up here for Plaza Amador, off of the knee, or off of the thigh. No much. Looks like he was seeing Despacito's video a little bit too much there, the dancing by Jair Palacios. No gyration was going to help with the way that ball was trapped. Amer Ramirez. Crossing it back, a very dangerous pass as the ball rolls up and ping-pongs its way through off of the face of there off of the face of Ernesto Sinclair, and not much going on as finally it goes out of bounds. Plaza Amador with Hughes and goal, Mendoza, Betancourt, Carabalí and Dixon. Gomez, Frais, Blanco, and Ramirez, Sinclair, and Murillo. And at this point, because of the lack of clarity that we've seen on both sides, do you start looking at other options? The answer, at least in the short term, would be yes. You need players to decompress certain situations instead of making them more complicated and making the advancement of the ball seem more like something out of rocket science than to be more of footballing instinct, to be quite honest with you. Ramirez as the ball. It's a turf, and of course, Plaza, no stranger to artificial turf, as they played 95% of their matches. As you see right there, Blanco complaining, just a little tweak, a little twinge that he felt. Laureiro, one of 5 leading goal scorers in this tournament up to now. Plaza just charging forward, now looking for Ahmed Ramirez, but a very poor pass, still recovered. As it was Betancourt now running, becoming more of a midfielder, joining the attack. Ramirez had some room to take a shot, but a little bit too far out for his range. Mendoza. Vanegas. One in the middle. Here's full on dash, but not much going on as it's covered impeccably by Betancourt. His play will be stopped. Player had gone down. I didn't see initially who it was. Of course, right there you see it's Rafael Almeida. See right here, just the way he lands on the turf. You can see this angle better. Diving effort. He just landed right there. That shows you, that tells you everything. He's got the wind knocked out of him. Hope he's okay, because those types of efforts really at times leave you exposed, and so often you end up having some type of rib injury. Looks like he's okay as Plaza now trying to organize themselves from an offensive standpoint. Frais. Ramirez, nice give and go, but a little bit too much air on that ball, and it goes right to the hands of Denis Espinosa. Now Walter Ferretti looking to counter back. Lopez. Garcia, one-on-one. Stepping on it, and a good job of seeing so much dancing. Kind of started the attack on the other end. Plaza now going down the left-hand side exclusively. It's Sinclair who's dropped back a little bit more. Blanco. Frais. Start knocking it back and forth, to and fro. Betancourt staying up top. Out wide, you see Gomez as well as Mendoza. It goes to Mendoza. A run made by Gomez, but he has to drop back, and not much really being created there as it goes over to Robinson. Tapia, back to Robinson. Cutting, dropping, going back into the middle as it goes over to Vanegas. Walter Ferretti now controlling proceedings as Robinson impeded to advance as he was locked up there. What Daniel Blanco does, just grabs him, uses his leg, whatever he can do to be able to stop Robinson da Silva from advancing. Still Walter Ferretti controlling, now finding a little bit more patience. This is what they're looking for, no foul, as Plaza looking to break out with Amir Ramirez. Castañeda, the backup goalkeeper, Damaso Santos, Richard Rodriguez, and a foul being called. It'll be a card. First yellow card will be Sinclair getting involved, and he goes into the referee's book. That'll be in the 55th minute of play as Ernesto Sinclair gets the first yellow card of the match. Bit careless, Sinclair, on that play. Not exactly sure, his temper starting to flare a little bit too much. Eric Hughes had to run to the middle of the pitch to try and prevent some of his teammates from getting involved and things escalating even further. Looks like another yellow card is going to be given. It's going to go to De Almeida. Find out in just a second. Is the referee going to his pocket once again, and De Almeida goes into the referee's book as well. That was at 56. Right there. Oof. And to be honest with you, that challenge right there, I mean, it's yellow, but it's got a little bit of orange on it. I mean, it was, you could start saying, you could even make an argument that it was borderline red, but a little tinge of orange on that yellow card as well. Of course, the apologies there, saying, no, my bad. Yeah. That's been part of what these types of encounters do have people face when you start to see certain aspects of the game not really be executed properly. Then you start to see a lot of fouls in the middle of the pitch. You start to see a lot of physical play that becomes predominant. And that's where you start to see the match lose even greater luster and become more combative than more competitive. Here's Plaza as the ball gets knocked away. It'll be a throw-in for Plaza Amador as we head into the 58th minute of play. Still no score here at the Estadio Independencia. See right there, Sinclair. Of course, Raul Castro a little bit generous on that one. Flying through, still not out of harm's way. Looking to clear it out, turns the wrong way. Does Jesse Lopez, gives it right back to Plaza, and it's taken away from Ahmed Ramirez. That ball just cleared away just to be able to get some breathing room, much to the displeasure of Coach Da Silva. Hughes. Again, the ball taken away, and it'll be Plaza Amador having to defend. And you see how emotional, and you see the gesticulation and the over-the-top emotion from Jair Palacios. Upset with his goalkeeper, Eric Hughes, saying, why did you go short? Why didn't you send the ball deep? And, well, the descriptions continued, but I guess you can figure out exactly what he's saying there. Good throw-in opportunity coming up for Walter Ferretti. Nodded away, cleared out, and Walter Ferretti being able to win the ball once again, looking for a foul. No, not going to get it as it goes in the direction of Kenneth Vanegas. Gomez knocking it out. Now it's Mendoza winning the ball in the air, but knocking it away from there from Da Silva from creating any possible chances. A substitution about to come on. First of the match, as it will be over for Walter Ferretti. It'll be Jesse Lopez coming off, and coming on will be Jason Castellon. So Castellon for Jesse Lopez. That's in the 60th minute of play. So let's see how that changes this match. Jesse Lopez to lose his marks a little bit too much, and that's what complicated things for his side. Trying to get a player that can do two things, that can obviously join the attack, but also become a very important pillar of the defense. Laurito off the post. Couldn't believe it as the Uruguayan just ripped one. I'm gonna say here in the replay, and that's what's made him such a vital part of this team. Look how much time it takes. He already had decided to take the shot. It goes off the outside of the post. First big chance coming. Look at the way that ball just missile guided onto target, but hitting the outside of the woodwork. So Walter Ferretti looking to continue, and that's the path to goal through Laredo, and that's why they've been limited on some occasions. Here's Hughes, the ball bouncing around top of the 6. He doesn't come off his line, but it's cleared away. Again, a big mistake. Vanegas looking to serve it, or at least intended to serve it, but decided to shoot on target. Misses just wide. That, of course, woke many people up. As Walter Ferretti and now Valentin Pimentel coming on for Jair Palacios coming off. It'll be Daniel Blanco. So Pimentel at 62 coming on for the Venezuelan Spaniard. Barreling forward, here's Ahmed Ramirez. Trying to stay on his feet, but was unable to. Now what Valentin Pimentel does offer is a bit more balance in the middle of the pitch. Blanco tended to be a little bit too defensive and lost a lot of balls in the area. You see right there the foul being committed. Pimentel does offer you that balance and more mobility from side to side. Carabalí. Dixon. Goes back to Pimentel, the Panamanian international. Carabalí back into the middle for Pimentel as he turns. And you start to see more players go up, and Pimentel joining and accompanying, being that attaché, if you will, on the offensive end. And you see right there, second assistant, Jesus Tabora. Let's see where the, right there, offside. Espinosa. The ball bounces here and there and everywhere, and right back to the goalkeeper on the other end, his counterpart, Eric Hughes. This marks the 6th consecutive match. Now, if this result were to remain, or even if Plaza Amador scores a goal, just one, it would be the 6th consecutive match for Plaza Amador. They've already had 5 in a row where they've scored 1 goal or less. It shows you how much their scoring woes have been. Laureiro. You'd have to go back all the way to, it goes back in July, actually back in March, where you start to see that streak beginning to emerge. But the last time they were able to score more than a goal was back in mid to late July, actually July 22nd to be more precise. It was a 2-1 victory over Alianza in domestic league play. Ever since that, they've scored 1 goal or less in 5 consecutive matches, and today they're en route to number 6. Really complicating things, and Mendoza says, you know what, let me just give it back to the goalkeeper, we'll start all over again. 65th minute of play. Let's see how Plaza begin to implement more of Valentin Pimentel into their ball movement. As the lone time, of course, the only time since he came on just a few minutes ago. The only time that he was really able to get a good measure as to what he can do. It ended up being very close as a cross, misdirected. There'll be a corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador. 66th minute of play here at the Estadio Independencia in Estelí. They're making sure that the ball's on the line. Pimentel, try to see if he can find a way off a mark, but it's cleared away by Laureiro. You see, Palacios not too pleased where that ball was heading. Walter Ferretti now looking to go forward, and it's Robinson. Laureiro goes back to the Uruguayan, and he'll reset. Never one to mince his words, Jair Palacios, to the press or even to his team. Robinson and opens it out wide as he's beginning to associate a little bit more with Laureiro. Laureiro out wide again is, of course, the recently entered Jason Castellón starting to get involved. Looking and seeing what they're finding down the right side, or the right side of their attack, I should say, to be more specific. It's Castellón with the reset, trying to push that ball through. Finally, that ball goes out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick, and offense is on both sides sputtering. Hughes, as he sends it deep to the opposite side and nodded back over to Ahmed Ramirez. Getting past a nice pass into the middle, a very promising effort right behind. Here's a shot, the chance to save by Espinosa. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the first clear-cut, concise chance for Plaza Amador in this match. Jose Murillo didn't put enough pace on it. But still, you start to see things beginning to open up. Here's Valentin Pimentel. Quicker ball movement, the key. Verticality doesn't harm in any way, shape, or form. That first touch again. Cleared away by De Almeida. One of two players with a yellow card again. Another cross, and Espinosa running out to make sure that he's not called because it was very close to being a corner kick. And that's what makes the difference right there, having to drop that ball back. Of course, at that point, didn't have much of an option to do much, and that was the best chance that Plaza Amador has had so far in this encounter. Final 20 minutes plus. Who will be able to open the goal scoring at this stage? Laureiro has come rather close. Whiff by none other than Garcia. This play continuing for Plaza Amador. Shuttling it back and forth and now pressing forward. Pimentel making himself available in the middle. You start to see more from Ernesto Sinclair, who's dropped back more to become a midfielder. It's Pimentel and Sinclair looking to push the ball forward. Sinclair with Ahmed Ramirez, who's been the target of preference for Plaza in that final sector. He hasn't been able to partner up with anyone, and now the ball quickly taken away, and it's Vanegas giving it to Laureiro. In the second half, the Uruguayan is getting a lot more touches, and he alongside Da Silva being able to link up. Laureiro out wide as it goes in the direction of Castellon. They're rather happy to keep that ball in this sector, although their coach looking to be a bit more direct towards goal instead of making plays so lateral. That ball got away, just ran away from Jorge Garcia. Plaza having all types of trouble recovering. Muniva keeping it alive, and now Plaza Amador moving up with Robinson. They continues to go down the left now, looking for a chance to get deflected. Yes, a big corner kick coming up for Walter Ferretti. 71-23 and counting. No score. Laureiro looking to send that ball out swinger, looking for a target. Trying to deflect it back. It's Eric Hughes just snagging that ball down. So, first substitutions have already been made. Looks like there's a need for a second on both sides. Who do you bring in? Do you bring in a Damaso Santos? Do you bring in a Richard Rodriguez for Plaza Amador? Do you bring in an Erwin Zorrilla or Marvin Avila? Because honestly, we haven't seen much of Humberto Gomez down the right side of the attack to really write home about. Who do you bring in? Now, for Plaza Amador, who do you bring in? Do you bring in an Eric Lasso to be able to join up on the attack? Because the midfield is starting to really take over. Hughes off his line as Amador was rushing towards him. You start to look at players like René Huete. You start looking at Christian Flores. Who do you look at? Where do you need to make that switch, that change, that can make all the difference in the world? Aaron pass, and again, to me, the next player that needs to come out for Plaza Amador would have to be Humberto Gomez, as it's Da Silva. Castellon. swinging it from one end to the other. It's Da Silva losing the ball. It's Pimentel. Ahmed Ramirez. Again, you see what I'm talking about, where he doesn't find that player to link up, but Pimentel was trying to. But here, an opportunity brewing. Laureiro from just outside, missing the chance, and you start to see why Eric Hughes is so upset. There's a substitution coming on as Jose Murillo, as Sergio Ortega will replace him. So Ortega for Murillo, as Murillo has also gone rather silent in the past few minutes. That's the second substitution. Just missing wide, and Hughes was pointing out where the ball was lost and where the first reference, that first mark should have been, as Murillo calls it a night. So second substitution already on the pitch. Plaza Amador has lost certain sectors of the midfield, especially if you look towards the right side when Walter Ferretti's attacking. That sector's been completely lost by Plaza Amador. Looking to serve it into space. Trying to, a defense that really has been doing a good job of shielding and moving around and angling well enough to prevent those types of breakouts from really causing problems. Remember last week when they were playing Portmore United, you have a flat back line of 4. That really facilitates those types of opportunities, especially when you send those balls through the back line and you have somebody making a diagonal run. That's where you start to see much more effectiveness. And that's where you start to see a bit more domination, or at least a bit more opportunities being created on target. Tonight, you have a back line of 3 that's not flat, plus you have 2 wingbacks that are coming in pressuring. So you do have a lot of relays, a lot of well-organized responses to really flailing attacks. Get another cross back into the middle. It's recovered by Vanegas. Of course, it's the recently entered. He gets his first touch. The recently entered Sergio Ortega. Good job by Muniva to win that ball, and now it's again, Robinson puts on the brakes because he doesn't have the numbers. Amador waiting at the point, but really playing himself out of that particular sequence. Offside. And actually, check that. It's going to be a foul. I'm sorry about that. As the infraction being called. There's Jorge Garcia. Looked like he initially is coming off an offside position. But when he recovers the ball, yeah, he just gets cracked from behind. Foolish play there, and if Walter Ferretti can play their cards right, this could be the opener as we get into the final 13 minutes of this match. No score at the Estadio Independencia. De Almeida, also Garcia nearby. He's being shadowed, as you see right there. Five, 6 players for Walter Ferretti. Now 1 dropping back. Plaza going man-to-man, seeing how they can really look to neutralize, but of course, easily be rendered by any player misdirecting or going around various players. And very complicated, and Hughes parrying it away. It'll be a corner kick coming up for Walter Ferretti. Jorge Garcia coming off. Eric Lasso coming on. So Lasso for Garcia at the 79th minute. That's the second substitution for Walter Ferretti. Lasso, of course, has had some experience with the Nicaraguan national team, with Los Pinoleros. Outswinger coming up. Top of the six, punched away, slapped away by Hughes once more. Bit of hesitation. Again, Hughes coming out. At times, just because of his frame and how he comes out at times, reminds you a lot, of course, proportionally speaking, to former AC Milan goalkeeper Dida. Had a brilliant career with the Rossoneri, also with the Brazilian national team. Pimentel from outside, why not? That ball bounced right in front of him, just got under it. A skosh. Man down. As Ahmed Ramirez calls it a night, third and final. Erwin Zorrilla coming on. That's at 80. Third and final substitution. So Jair Palacios bringing in a forward and taking out a forward slash midfielder on the attack. Ahmed Ramirez, not the best night for him, as Zorrilla coming on, seeing if he can create something on the attack. And now with Pimentel on the pitch, you do have a person that can kind of pull the strings a little bit more. Ahmed Ramirez wasn't able to partner up with Murillo, wasn't able to partner up with Sinclair. And that's where you start to see some of the shortcomings of Plaza Amador's attack. Deep ball once again. Castellon, as he's able to take advantage of the mistake. Will he be able to capitalize and cross it? No, he's not. Good work there in the middle, and it's taken away as now Plaza Amador looking to create something as Luis Frais on the ground. Then it'll be a foul in favor of the visitors. It's been a rather fast-moving match as see Frais going down. Challenge, a bit reckless there, but still Eric Lasso, who just came on. Of course, keep in mind, Walter Ferretti does have one more chance to make a substitution. Betancourt. Dixon looking into the area, and again, trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Da Silva. That guy has just run a half marathon at this point. Recovering, dribbling, trying to find a way to goal, but then again, he's had all types of obstacles. There's Laureiro also getting involved. Mistimed and took a little swipe there. As the conditions, well, of course, the humidity, a major factor. Not as much of a factor as it will be next week, as Panama definitely much more humid a climate than if you start going in Nicaragua, especially during this time of year in this part of Nicaragua. Of course, if you start looking at more areas like Bluefields, then you start to deal with other factors like that. And of course, Panama, their respective climate also being overall, when you start dealing with Central America, save for certain microclimates, like case in point in Costa Rica, that is a little bit different as far as that is concerned when it comes to that particular issue, as the fans there's one group of individuals, one collective team that has been consistent. It's been the Walter Ferretti fans so far as the third and final. Carlos Membreño coming on. And that's at 84. Membreño coming on as Banegas comes off. He's also had a long night at 84 minutes. His night is done. So we'll see what these two teams have in store for the final 6+ minutes. Right now it looks like about 3, maybe 4 minutes of stoppage time could be added. Who knows? Tapia, and down there, and again it's Robinson da Silva that hits the deck. Gutierrez. So it would be golden for Plaza Amador to be able to get a goal, giving them this slight advantage with the away goal. Nice play there by G. Almeida. Comfortably, technically, oh my God, how smooth was that play by Lid Carabalí. Valentin Pimentel, waiting, surveying, sends it into space. Here's a good opportunity brewing for Plaza Amador. Will they play their cards right? Nobody in the middle. Now another player, Valentin Pimentel, was coming through again, trying to slam it through, but not much going on. It's Castellon got the touch. It'll be a corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador. See right there is Pimentel. Really, if you start looking at Pimentel's run, it was virtually impossible to send the ball in his direction. It's the only option. See if it can carry him off a defender. And we'll see what happens in this set piece chance for Plaza Amador. Setting through, so close, as it was Humberto Gomez getting a body part, not sure exactly, or was it Pimentel? Let's see again. No, it was Gomez was able to get the inside of his left foot. As, of course, the fans enjoying their Thursday evening, and will probably continue to enjoy it after the match, especially if Walter Ferretti is able to get on the board. Da Silva. Good turn into the middle. Lasso loses the ball, and now Plaza Amador looking to break. Ortega drops it back as Plaza looking to hold and looking to protect that ball, looking to defend with the ball at their feet. Carabalí. Mendoza. And going through is a good opportunity. As it was Zorrilla that can control it, and that opportunity goes to waste. Final 2.5 minutes before stoppage time comes into effect. Hope I'm right, but right now, based on my scientific calculations, it'll be about 4 minutes of stoppage time that will be added by Raul Castro. As the result, depending on who you are, it'll be a good one. If you're Plaza Amador, you're in a good position because a win by any result will end up helping you advance. And of course, the friendly confines of the Rommel Fernandez. Now we have to see what condition the pitch will be on, or will be in, I should say. As of course there will be matches being played throughout the weekend, and also remember that the two other teams in this competition from Panama, both Chorrillo as well as, you see right there, Jade Palacio. As I mentioned before, Árabe Unido, Chorrillo, as well as Plaza Amador, using the Rommel Fernandez as the stadium of choice, or the stadium by default, where they have to play. Their respective stadiums too small for international play. So those matches on top of the league schedule, on top of the conditions that have been affecting the pitch at the Rommel Fernandez. We'll see how that pitch is able to stand. On top of that, that'll be a good bit of discussion for the Panamanian press. Is wait to see how many minutes will be added by the referee. Still no sign. Now comes out 3 minutes of stoppage time added by referee Raul Castro. Lasso dancing and trying to go through it. A free kick opportunity coming up for Walter Ferretti. And to me, it's Laureiro that has to take this with his left foot. Is there a third player coming into that wall? You're going to see right there, Lasso. And how Luis Dixon say, no, I didn't mean it, but he got caught in no man's land, sticking his leg out, and that was a bad situation. But again, a very favorable one if you're a Walter Ferretti fan. So the Uruguayan, Jose Laureiro, looking to, in the dying moments of this match, give Walter Ferretti the lead and possibly the win going into Panama City next week. As the former Defensor Sporting, of course, the former Barnechea over in Chile, played in the Chilean second division. See what happens is Laureiro scored 17 goals last season. Goes off the wall. Scored 16 the year before that, and Hughes, that second ball, was able to get a man down. Of course, that was Alglish Dixon. Since coming over in 2014, Brian Laureiro has scored 43 goals. Started out slow, but the past 2 years, he's been one of the leading goal scorers in the Nicaraguan league. Here's another ball, last chance, Saloon, will it happen? Chance outside, it goes just wide. And again, Robinson da Silva missing just inches from the far post. Did so with his left foot in the first half. Now in stoppage time, repeating the feat, and that should be it. Let's see if there's another chance that will be given by the referee, saying, okay, well, it's Plaza, not the best performance by him, but they'll take the scoreless draw back home very happily. So there is no more 93 minutes of play, and Plaza Amador coming away with a scoreless draw out of Esteli. Things aren't decided yet, but depending on how you look at it, Plaza with a win advance. There's a slight advantage for Walter Ferretti. A draw with any score helps them get to the semis.